Ellen has officially left California behind completely and listed her last property in the U.S. for sale. Jason Kelce is at war with his neighbors over plans to build a fourth home on his Pennsylvania property. We've got that and a lot more to talk about in today's episode. Let's get into it. Now let's start with that Ellen story. Ellen just listed her last remaining home in the U.S. for sale, and she wants $5 million. Ellen and her partner have bought and sold over a dozen homes in the LA area over the last 10 years, but they've been in the process of selling all their real estate after they committed to moving to England last year. I think this is probably one of the cheapest houses that they've ever sold at only $5 million. One thing that'll never get old to me is just how lush the landscapes are in California. We got good ceiling height, walls of windows everywhere, fireplace. I love how all those doors and the window behind the kitchen all open up to this backyard. I've got a similar countertop in my kitchen, actually. This is probably quartz, but it's made to look like concrete. And this lot's a bit weird. There's like a backyard behind the backyard. So over there is that other seating area that we were just looking at. Here's the master bedroom. Here is the patio off the master. And last, a couple of shots of the master bathroom. I mean, come on. You can't beat that. Next, let's talk about Liam Neeson. He is still trying to sell his apartment in New York. It's back on the market with a $2 million discount. Liam and his wife bought this 3-unit property way back in 1999 for just $3.9 million. It's sitting on the 28th floor of this 56-story tower. He's priced now at $10.8 million. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom apartment. Check this out. The HOA dues are $5,300 per month. The windows kind of remind me of the windows in 432 Park. I don't love it when they do this, when they don't go floor to ceiling with the windows. Imagine when you're sitting down on this couch, you're not even going to be able to see the views. You're basically just looking out at the blue sky. Down this hallway here will take us to the kitchen and dining room. Honestly, a decent sized kitchen for New York. Even at this price point, oftentimes you look at the kitchen and you're like, what? There's like this much counter space in the entire kitchen. The location of this apartment is good. The specs on the apartment are good. The views are obviously really good. If I had to guess as to why it's not selling, my 2 cents would be that the finishes in here do feel a little bit cheap and a little bit dated, just in my opinion. Plus, the virtual staging is not helping, let's be honest. I know it's expensive to do real staging, especially in an apartment in New York like this, but to me, the virtual staging just looks cheesy. Okay, I don't know how this keeps happening. I'm not complaining, but I feel like we keep talking about Frank Lloyd Wright lately. His former Plaza Hotel apartment in New York just hit the market. Frank Lloyd Wright lived at this apartment while he was working on the Guggenheim Museum from 1954 to 1959. They're asking $18.9 million for this one. It's an old one too, but that gives it character. The place was built in 1907. First thing you guys are gonna notice is that this place is loaded with furniture. You've got like 30 options for seating just in this one shot alone. See, I was talking about small kitchens a minute ago. This is what I'm saying. A $20 million apartment, and this is your kitchen. And according to the description, this place was actually recently renovated and refurnished. So all the pictures that we're seeing today, this is nothing like what it looked like whenever Frank Lloyd Wright lived here. The lobby is absolutely over the top. As someone who lives in the desert, it's hard for me to even imagine walking into this, like when you're going home every day. Marketing calls the plaza one of Manhattan's most sought after addresses. I'm not a local, so I can't really say whether or not that's the truth, but any of you guys out there from New York, you tell me, is this one of the most desirable places to live in the city? Next, let's talk about that Jason Kelce situation. I guess he's been going a bit head to head with his neighbors for a while as he tries to expand his property in Pennsylvania. He actually did just receive permission to build a fourth home on this property, but the neighbor opposition was because neighbors thought that the construction was going to cause flooding in and around their homes. What Kelce said to the city when he made this request is that he needs this additional structure and some more fencing just to improve security on their property. The neighbors are saying they're not happy about those. For one, they don't want the fence to be an eyesore, but for two, in order for him to build this fourth structure, I guess he needs to grade things out and basically remove a bunch of slopes that exist on the property, which means that, yeah, he could potentially cause some water drainage issues with surrounding properties. Kelce was able to get approval from the city to do this. He just needs to do proper stormwater management to protect the surrounding area. Obviously, he's got the right team in place with his architect architect and all of his consultants and a civil engineer. And the job of all of these people is to basically say, look, if we make these modifications and some crazy 100-year flood storm happens, this is where the water will go. That's probably why he was ultimately able to get this approved, because as long as they can show that that water will not intrude on the neighbors, then whatever. It's no big deal. That's a wrap for this week's episode. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button down below before you go if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next week.